They are the not-so-silent minority. Outvoted in the referendum, but still insisting that their voices be heard above the din of political arguments. It was a march of the mostly mild-mannered, middle class, many unfamiliar with street protests, but motivated by the muddle that Brexit negotiations has become.
I think there's a real sense of hope here today that actually we can vote with our feet, and there's enough of a say of the people and a voice of the people that says actually there's something wrong here, this isn't fair, and people are prepared to stand up for it now.
Brexiteers dismiss them as Remoaners or worse.
You know that Brexiteers will say this is the losers' march.
That's fine, but I think they're the losers really, and we're all going to be losers in the end. Things carry on the way they are. You know, we can just see it's one disaster after another. It's a complete mess up. The whole thing is a mess up.
The ode to joy was a little mournful at times, but there was stiff competition for the wittiest banner. Protesters dismissive of the direction taken by some of the country's leading political figures, and some questioning why the leader of the opposition wasn't leading the march. Demonstrations are usually aimed at shifting government policy, but there's no chance of a second vote if they can't convince Labour to commit to it.
Politicians can't be trusted to make the right decision. Our Prime Minister can't even get a deal through her cabinet. In those circumstances, let the British public for the first time have a say on the outcome of the negotiations with the option of staying in the EU.
Many of those weren't old enough to vote in the referendum, but now want their say on their future. But there were older voters too, claiming their Brexiteer counterparts had been deceived.
They had no concept of the complexity of what they'd voted for and how long it was going to take to unpick it all.
And they will say that's a really patronising attitude. They knew exactly what they were voting for.
None of us knew. I didn't know. I had no idea it was going to lead to this. I had no idea that after 2 years we would have got nowhere.
As the crowds shuffled their way towards Westminster, it became clear that this was one of the biggest marches of recent years. The organisers claiming it topped 500,000 people. The numbers helped by unseasonal blue skies, warm weather and a non-threatening, kid-friendly atmosphere.
There's growing evidence from surveys that enormous numbers of people are seriously alarmed about where Brexit's happening. It's very clear that there is no Brexit deal available that is better than the position we have at the moment.
Today, it's clear we are the many.
The march went beyond party political labels, with Conservative MPs among the speakers.
We are winning the argument, and we're winning that argument most importantly amongst those people who voted Leave.
A poor turnout would have been greeted with derision by Brexiteers. But right now, the big number which dictates Theresa May's policy is the 17.4 million who voted to leave the EU. Ian Woods, Sky News, Westminster.